Hey there! Welcome to your Metaroom Onboarding. My name is Justin Nardowitz and I'm part of the Metaroom team at our headquarters in Austria. Before we begin, let me give you a quick overview of what to expect in this video. We've divided the onboarding into three main sections. In the first part, we'll work with the Scan app. Here, I'll show you how to prepare for the scan the right way, what to watch out for while scanning, and how to capture important details with snapshots. We'll also look at how you can review your model right in the app and edit it if necessary. After that, we'll move into the Metaroom Workspace. From there, you'll get a quick tour of the dashboard. Then I'll show you the most important features in the 3D model, how to move it around in it, edit elements, and create your own 3D objects from snapshots. The last part is all about exports. We'll look at the most important export options, including 2D floor plans, the Excel report, the snapshot report, and other formats you can use for planning or documentation. This way, you'll get a complete step-by-step overview, from the first scan through editing in the workspace, all the way to the finished export of your project data. Before we start scanning, let's take a quick look at the rooms first. Make sure everything that might matter later for your planning is visible. For example, windows, radiators, outlets, light switches, or other details. If elements like these are hidden, for example by curtains, furniture, or other objects, they may be missing from the end model or shown less accurately. So be sure to clear important areas and make relevant objects easy to see. Doors should also generally be closed while scanning so they're recognized more reliably. For larger scans, such as entire floors or buildings, first think about the order in which you want to scan the rooms. The rule here is that adjacent rooms should always be captured one after another. This ensures the app can capture as much information as possible so your 3D model turns out clean and accurate in the end. Before you get started, check a few technical points. Your battery should be sufficiently charged so the scan isn't interrupted. Quickly wipe off the camera lens, since there are often fingerprints or dust on it, and a clear camera image helps the app capture the room better. Pay attention to good lighting, because the better the lighting conditions, the more easily the app can recognize the room. It's also important that the camera isn't covered at any point during the scanning process. For example, by fingers, hands, or the phone case. This is especially true when you switch between two rooms and add a scan section. But more on that later in the video. Feel free to turn on airplane mode or do not disturb mode because you don't need an internet connection for the scan itself, and this way you won't be interrupted by calls or notifications. Once these points are covered, you have the best conditions for a clean scan. Let's open the Metaroom app. In the settings, also turn on the tracking assistant. It delivers noticeably better results. I'll explain how it works in a moment. Now let's start a new scan using the plus symbol at the bottom center. As soon as the camera view is open, first point your device calmly at the room. The app needs a moment to orient itself at the start. So move your phone slowly and steadily until the first edges and surfaces are detected. It's best to start in an area with clear structures, for example, a room corner or a wall's edge. Ideally, keep a distance of about 6 to 10 feet from the walls so the app can capture enough of the room. In certain situations, you can also move in closer, for example, when an area or a detail needs to be captured more precisely. As soon as the lines appear in the room, you can tell that the app is capturing the geometry. While you scan, a small 3D preview gradually builds at the bottom of the screen. This is what we call the dollhouse model. It lets you see right away which areas have already been captured. Move slowly through the room, keeping the walls, corners, floor, and ceiling in view, and be careful not to pan tilt frantically. This way, the app can capture the room cleanly. What you see here now is the tracking assistant. It supports you during the scan and lets you know when, for example, you're scanning too fast, the lighting's too difficult, or the app is currently detecting too few reference points in the room. When the screen turns pink, hold the camera still for a moment and wait until you get the green signal again. As soon as the green signal appears, you can continue scanning normally. In small or narrow rooms, the tracking assistant may light up pink more often. That's because you can't always keep the recommended distance of 6 to 10 feet, and the camera often points very close to smooth surfaces. As a result, the app sometimes lacks corners, edges, or other reference points. When the screen turns pink, you can keep scanning for a short time. What's important though is that within about 30 seconds, you capture an area you've already scanned that offers clear reference points, for example, a corner or wall edge. Then hold the camera still on that area for a moment until you get the green signal again. After that, you can continue scanning. If the screen turns pink again, the same applies. Keep scanning only briefly and give the app another 30 seconds to orientate. If you exceed this time, tracking can be lost and the result can become less accurate. We'll now finish scanning the room and end the section where we started it. This is important so the measurements can be cross-checked cleanly. After you end the section, the interim preview appears. Here you can view the 3D model of your scanned room and immediately check whether everything was captured cleanly. When you turn on the details in the top right, you'll see the point cloud. These are the captured measurement points, for example, on the ceiling and furniture. This gives you an additional way to check whether the room was captured cleanly. To help you better understand what to watch out for, let me show you a quick example. Here you see the same area on the left and right, once with a bad scan and once with a clean scan. On the left, the scanning was done too fast, which results in fewer measurement points. On the right, the scanning was done more calmly and at the right speed. That's why there are noticeably more measurement points and edges and corners are recognized better. This way you can check your room right in the interim preview before moving on to the next room. If you notice in the interim preview that an area wasn't recognized correctly, you can simply go back to that spot and scan just that one area again with a new section. The new data doesn't replace the area directly, instead it's merged with the existing data and adds to the model. But if the whole section isn't right, you can tap Redo at the bottom left. This deletes the current section and lets you capture the room again right away. In our case, the scan is fine, so I'll tap the plus symbol to continue. This takes me into room change mode. Now I'll show you how to correctly switch from one room to the next while working with sections. When changing rooms, it's important to hold the camera as steady as possible. First, point the camera into the room. Then open the door with your other hand and keep the camera steady so there's minimal movement right in front of it. Slowly point the camera into the next room and move into the new area in a controlled way. You might be wondering now why we do it this way. The reason is that anything that moves directly in front of the camera during the scanning process can affect the result. That could be, for example, people walking through the frame, fingers in front of the lens, or a door you're aiming right at while opening it. That's why you should avoid movements in front of the camera as much as possible and change rooms calmly and in a controlled way. Once you've arrived in the next room, position yourself and start a new section. One more quick side note, especially for larger rooms. A single section has a limit of about 2,000 square feet. This limit depends not only on the area, but also the number of captured objects and the level of detail. All of this information registers as data. When a message about the section limit appears, you end the current section and split the area into several sections. It's important that the sections overlap slightly. This way, the measurements between the sections can be cleaned up and corrected against one another. This means even a room of 1,300 square feet can reach this limit if it's very angular or contains a lot of information. Now we come to the snapshots. For important objects like radiators, columns, light fixtures, or light switches, you can take snapshots. Snapshots are images with additional depth data. This makes it easier to assign and further edit objects later in the workspace. To take a snapshot, aim the crosshair in the center at the object you want to capture. Then press and hold the snapshot button at the bottom right for about 2 seconds to take a picture. At the top, you'll see how many snapshots you've already taken. You can also take several snapshots from different angles. This is especially helpful when the width, length, and height of an object should be clearly visible. Using the 3 dots on the right, you can open a color chart. With it, you can color categorize your snapshots right while scanning. For example, radiators in blue or light fixtures in yellow. This helps you find the objects later more quickly. When you're done with the room, you can return to the room view. There you'll also see marked snapshots. When tapping a snapshot, the captured image is open. You can add notes to your snapshots or recognize the text automatically if there is any. Feel free to use the device keyboard or the dictation function. You can now document important information right on site and have it saved later in the project together with the images. This brings us to the second to last section, and that's stairs. You always scan stairs at the very end, that is, after all the other rooms on the floor have been fully scanned. First, scan the room the stairs are in and end the section. Then, start a new section at the bottom of the stairs. Scan the surrounding walls so the stairs are captured cleanly. Then walk slowly up the stairs, holding the device facing forward. Once you reach the top, end the section, and then add a new section for the upper area. After that, you can move on to the next rooms as usual. Before you upload your model, give it a quick review. I'll now tap the check mark and then edit. Here I can delete incorrectly placed walls or furniture. If, for example, an open door was recognized as an opening, I can easily convert it here into a door or a window. If you accidentally delete something or edit it incorrectly, that's no problem. Using the arrow at the top right, you can undo everything at any time. Once I'm happy with the editing, I tap Finish at the bottom, name the scan, onboarding scan for example, and upload the whole thing into the cloud. One more little pro tip. If you need a quick 2D plan on site, you can export it directly from the app and take a look at it right away. All right, we're now done with scanning and editing, and we'll switch over to the workspace. To edit your 3D model, type metaroom.amrex.ai into the address bar at the top. In the workspace, we'll first take a look at the dashboard. At the top left, you'll find your name. Here you can edit your profile, change the language, view your license, or log out. Below that, you'll see your projects. Under Help, there are tutorials, the Help Center, and the option to create support tickets. Now let's go straight into the project. Let's start all the way on the left. Here you see the hierarchy, which is basically the table of contents of your project. Here you'll find everything: floors, rooms, objects, snapshots, all the way down to individual walls and surfaces. You can click on anything here, and the corresponding element is highlighted in light blue of the 3D model. And of course, it works the other way around too. When you click on something in the 3D model, the hierarchy automatically jumps to the right spot. Very handy, especially with larger projects. Now we'll go to the rooms and rename them right away, so everything stays clean and easy to understand later. You can rename it directly by double-clicking the name. Alternatively, click the 3 dots on the right of the hierarchy to open the context menu and click Edit. A window then opens where you can change the name or add a note. For example, this room needs to be renovated. A quick word on mouse controls so you can move around the 3D model with confidence. When you hold down the left mouse button and move the mouse, you can rotate the 3D model and view it from any angle. With the right mouse button, you move the 3D model, that is left, right, up, or down without rotating it. Simply put, left click to rotate, right click to pan, and you have full control over the 3D model. Now I want to have my radiator in my room as well. To do that, I go to the matching snapshot. Since I sorted my snapshots by color, I know right away this one is the radiator. When I click on it, the photo is shown on the right as my mouse switches to pen mode as soon as I move onto the image. At the top of the image, I select the box function and click on the radiator in the photo, name it, and save it. After that, you're automatically taken to the manipulation tool, which I'll show you in the next example. For now though, we'll go straight to the check mark at the top to complete the transformation. Now to also get the measurements of the radiator, I go to the measurement tool. With the meter tool, I measure the size of the radiator. For example, its width or height. With the ruler, I can additionally measure how far the radiator is from other elements. For example, from the windowsill or the wall. This way, I get both the measurements and the distances shown directly in the 3D model. But I just noticed that I didn't capture the light switch as a snapshot while scanning. That's no problem though. Now we'll turn on the scan path. Here you see the little spheres. Each one represents an image and also shows you the viewing direction in which you held the phone while scanning. The more of these spheres you have, the more images will be available to you later. For better understanding, a quick note on the colors. Dark pink shows where you started the scan, and light blue where you finished. I can simply choose one of the images that were created from the motion during the scan and recreate the light switch anyway. Good to know, these scan images are created automatically while scanning. They're usable, but they usually have lower image quality, since they're created automatically and don't always show the object completely, so snapshots have a clear advantage here. They're higher in quality, have more precise coordinates, and can be found again more quickly. That's why we recommend always creating objects from snapshots whenever possible. The same principle works for the column too. I go to my snapshot and click on my column. Since I walked around the column while scanning, I have images from the motion from different angles. I can now select as many images as I like, which continuously adjusts and refines the measurements. I save the column and I'm now back in the manipulation tool where I can lengthen, shorten, or move the object. When you're done, click Confirm Transformation at the top. This way, in the end, I know exactly where the column is. Later, I can process this object into a real column in my target software. And that's exactly how it works with all the other objects in the room too, whether it's radiators, columns, light switches, light fixtures, pipes, or other structural elements. The process always stays the same. For slope ceilings, the process is the same as well. Take a snapshot, select the surface instead of box, and then simply click the sloped surface. And now comes the real cool feature. In the measurement tool, you can even use the ruler to display the angle of the slope. There's a separate video on slope ceilings that we'll link below in the bio if you'd like to learn more. Now, one more important tool. Here you can turn the textures on and off. When textures are off, you can double click to select a wall, the floor, or an object. In the hierarchy, click the context menu on the right in the highlighted area, then edit, and there you can choose and assign a color. Once you're done editing, don't forget to save your progress. Now I'll show you the most used export formats. To do that, I go to Export at the top, type Project Report into the format bar, and export it. In the project lists, I can then click the name of my scan. Below it, I'll see all my exports and can download them directly from here. Alternatively, I can also open the export via the notification at the top right. So this is your project report, which summarizes your complete scan in a clear overview. At the very top, you'll find the project info, such as name, date, and location. After that, you get a building and floor overview, so you immediately get a feel for how large the property is and how it's structured. For each floor, there's a 2D floor plan with measurements which are area, perimeter, and room height. This way, you have the most important information immediately without having to search any longer. In the room overviews, you then see all the captured objects, for example, walls, doors, furniture, or radiators, each with its own measurements, areas, and volumes. This becomes handy for planning, coordination, or further processing. Your notes are carried over here as well, and most importantly, they also are located directly in the room. So you can see exactly which room, wall, or area the note belongs to, for example, when something needs to be renovated. And at the very end, you'll find the snapshots. They're not just images, they're located in the room in the same way, so you can see exactly which spot or object was marked with the snapshot. This makes both snapshots and notes extremely valuable as a clear visual reference for quick orientation or to pass things along simply and understandably. In short, the PDF is your finished project documentation, which you can easily share, pass along, or use directly for planning. Now we come to the 2D floor plan. Here you can set how your floor plan should be exported. At the very top, you'll first provide the export with a name. For the units of measurement, you choose between imperial or metric. You can also set the language to either English or German. After that, you choose the appropriate level of detail. Here you have 3 options. With the complete model, everything is exported including furniture and objects. The room geometry with created objects options exports the room structure including the helper surfaces but without furniture. If you need only the pure room geometry, you choose room geometry. In the layout area, you choose the page format, for example, A4, and the page orientation, that is portrait or landscape. For scaling, you can also specify the scale yourself. Further down, it's about dimensioning. Here, you determine how simple or how detailed the floor plan is labeled. The first three options are pre-configured, and with the custom one, you can set it yourself. Here, we'll go with the custom. Under details, you can select how openings such as doors or windows are displayed and which wall information, for example, wall lengths, is exported as well. When everything looks good, you click Export and your 2D floor plan is ready. This is what the 2D floor plan looks like when you export only the room geometry. You get a clear, clean plan without furniture, focused on walls, rooms, and openings, all at the chosen scale. Perfect when you need just the structure of the room. The third export format we have is the Excel report. It's ideal when you don't want to work with plans, but with numbers and data. In the Excel report, you'll find several clearly organized tables. In the room overview, you'll see all the rooms with their areas and perimeters. Below that, there are more tables that go into detail. In the Snapshots table, all the snapshots you placed are listed and assigned to their respective area. This way, you can trace exactly which images were used in the project. In the Objects table, you'll find all the automatically detected elements, for example, tables, chairs, and cabinets, as well as other furniture and furnishings, each with their own measurements and a photo of the respective object. The Custom Objects table shows you all the objects you created yourself, like radiators, columns, or light switches, along with the snapshot and the images used for it. On the second to last page, you get an overview of all the measurements of openings like doors or window areas. Last, in the Wall Surfaces table, you get an overview of the wall surfaces per room, which is especially handy for renovations or painting work. You've probably seen this identification number several times by now. It's simply there to uniquely identify each surface or object. So if you're not sure what the ID refers to, just copy it, open the corresponding project, and enter it into the search bar at the top left. The corresponding surface is then highlighted in blue, and you can assign it directly. These tables give you a full overview of everything you created and captured in the model, cleanly structured and ready for further processing. Last comes the snapshots as a separate export format. The images are grouped in a single folder and numbered there. In addition, you get a PDF plan that picks up this numbering again. This way, you can see exactly on the plan where the snapshot is located in the room. So the images and the PDF plan belong directly together. The numbers in the folder correspond to the markers in the plan and show you the exact position of each snapshot. Ideal for documentation, coordination, and a clear assignment of the images. These are the export formats used most often. However, they aren't the only options. In total, Metaroom offers over 40 different export formats, depending on which software you want to work with later. These include formats such as the 2D plan with auto dimensioning, optionally with images, PaletteCAD, Cascados and ECAD, or ArchiCAD and Autodesk Revit. This way, you can not only share your project as a PDF, Excel report, or snapshot export, but also import the data directly into your target software and continue working there. You can also share your scans very easily. To do that, click Share. There are two options. The first is a project copy. The person who receives this link needs an active account and can also edit the copy of your 3D model. The second option is the public view. Here you first specify a name along with an expiration date and time. The person doesn't need an account for this and can only view the 3D model but not edit it. And that's it. You now know how to scan rooms, create a 3D model, and edit it in the workspace. Our Customer Success Manager Sevgi will be happy to assist you if you need any further information. You'll find her contact details below in the description in case you need further support. Thanks for watching and have fun scanning.